Hari Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saha Viryan Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So yes, we were speaking about the three different aspects of the Absolute Truth, and now we are on the topic of Krishna, the Supreme Absolute Truth, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we said that some people are saying that we discuss different arguments that people give why Krishna is not the Supreme. So some people are saying he is an incarnation of Vishnu. But we discussed that actually Krishna has 64 qualities, and he has 4 qualities that even Vishnu doesn't have. Which were these 4 qualities? Do you remember? Someone wrote them?
The curves, the 3 curves.
Extremely beautiful body. The body that has Krishna with special curves, and even Vishnu doesn't have. Yes, that was one special quality. What else?
Flute.
He's playing flute. Vishnu is not playing flute. These are special pastimes. Okay? What else?
He's a child? No, that's not.
It's connected, yes. He performs very special pastimes that nobody else performs. Very special activities. Nobody else is doing this. Like, for example, Krishna is a child. Yes. Or he has special pastimes with the gopis, dancing the rasa dance and so on and so on. Even Vishnu is not showing this kind of pastimes. So very unique pastimes. And fourth one was his devotees are very unique. And they have very special relationships with him. In other words, their devotion and love to Krishna is unique in a sense. It's extremely pure, uncontaminated. It's completely causeless. They don't want absolutely anything in return for their love. Well, this is something very special. Even sometimes the living entities, when they go to the spiritual world on the Vaikunthas planets, today I think we will come to the point to discuss the different realms in the existence. Even when some living entities, they go to Vaikunthas, they have still some personal desires. Maybe not material, but personal. Something selfish. But the devotees which are with Krishna in the highest planet in the spiritual world are so pure. By nature, they don't have any selfish desire, nothing. 100% for Krishna, nothing for me. This is something very special, very exceptional. Okay? And then we are discussing the argument that some people are saying, well, Brahma or Shiva, they are more powerful than Krishna. But then we gave different examples and stories how, like for example, Brahma, he tried to steal the cow boys and the small cows from Krishna, but actually at the end he was completely in illusion and he understood he cannot play jokes with Krishna. Krishna is extremely powerful. Or Shiva, one time he was trying to fight with Krishna, and then he was, of course, defeated. Yes, Krishna win the battle, the competition. So in many different cases we see how actually Brahma and Shiva, they were taking subordinate position. Like for example, we meet in many places in Shastra how they offer prayers to Krishna. Shiva offers prayers to Krishna in 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Brahma offers prayers to Krishna in 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Brahma wrote a special book. The whole book is just the prayers to Krishna. Brahma-Samhita. Govinda Mahadipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. I pray to Govinda, who is Adipurusha. He is the origin of everything. I'm worshipping him. Brahma is saying. Also Shiva, he has many different statements how like in one place in the Puranas, I think Padma Purana, he is saying to his wife, Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnu aradhanam param. From all kinds of worship, the worship of Vishnu or Krishna is the highest. So they know and they state these things, they are saying these things, that Krishna is the supreme. Also it's a known fact for Shiva that he is eternally residing in Kailash, in the Himalayas, under a banyan tree, and he is chanting on a beat. And what is he repeating? Ram, 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 Ram. Ram is another name of Krishna. So they know that Krishna is the supreme, and they are showing it so many times.
There is a small portion. It was a series called Ramayana. Before Ram attacks on Sri Lanka, before going there, he creates the Shivling.
And worship.
He worshipped the Shivling, but the Shiva worshipped him.
Yeah.
That's a portion of it. So,
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. So Krishna takes the form of a small child and then grows to and becomes an adult. How it is possible the Supreme Lord, the greatest personalities of all, to be a kid and to grow and to become adult? How is this possible? Like Lord is Lord. Why he has to grow? How is this working?
He's God, he wants whatever he wants to.
He can do whatever he likes. I like this argument very much, yes. This is absolute argument and it can be said for...
It's given, yeah.
It's a fact.
It's a fact.
It's a fact. He can do whatever he likes. Correct? Yes, he can do whatever he likes. But also the acharyas are explaining that actually it is not that Krishna is changing his age. Krishna, he is not aging. For our vision, it looks like that. And the way how they explain it is that when Krishna appears here on earth, for 1 year, he is on a certain age. And when this 1 year passes, it's not that Krishna grows actually. What happens is, this incarnation of Krishna goes back to the spiritual world, and another incarnation of Krishna comes, which is 2 years old. And then this is for 1 year. And when 1 year passes, this incarnation of Krishna goes to the spiritual world, and other incarnation comes, which is 3 years old. So from our perspective, it looks like a movie. We see as like Krishna is becoming older, he's growing. Oh, if he's growing, that means he's a normal human. But actually it's not like that. Just different expansions of Krishna, they come and go.
So he's just reincarnates in 1 year older every year, right?
Actually what's going on is like that. This is what the acharyas explain. But from our perspective, it looks that Krishna is growing. So he's not an ordinary human. He doesn't have a material body and material body which is growing. It's not like that in his case. Rather in his case it looks like that for us, but actually the reality is different. Yes.
I heard someone say, I didn't get it to read, but he doesn't have a veins. So
He doesn't have, yes. He doesn't have veins. Why? Because his body is not material.
He doesn't need anything because his body is perfect, right? So
Yes. And still, he is eating. He is eating. Supreme Lord is eating. But his eating is not like our eating. For example, if he eats little bit more, he won't suffer from indigestion. Or if he eats little bit less. Huh?
Or obesity.
No, this year he will get back on the track.
He doesn't have these problems.
Right.
These are problems for us. Because we have a machine, and we know machines, they are very precise. If you don't use them the way how they should be used, there is a problem. Every machine should be used in an exact way. So we have this problem. Krishna doesn't have this problem.
So this explains why he's able to eat so much butter.
Correct? Krishna likes butter.
He loves butter.
But just to tell you for your information, the butter that Krishna is eating is not like the butter we buy from the shop. This butter from the shop, nobody can eat. But this butter that Krishna is eating, it's called makan. If you go, huh?
From Kamdev.
Like if you go in India for Kartik in Vrindavan, every night they bring this kind of butter and they give. And it's very soft, it's very like creamy, it's a little bit airy even, and it's very sweet. It's not mixed with sugar, but it's sweet, so you can eat.
Yes.
You can eat means you cannot eat like. It's a little bit like ice cream, to tell you frankly. It's a little bit like that. So you can eat, you can take makan, they call it.
Makhan. M-A-K-H-A-N.
Do they have this matcha anywhere in New York City? No, I'm seriously asking.
Only if they have.
I'm not the right person to
special
ask.
cows. So, New Vrindavan might have it.
West Virginia.
West Virginia.
There you go. You gotta drive in, but it's time to get there.
I think if you take, if I'm correct, if you take the lots of milk and you put it in a big pot, and then the cream will come on the top, and then you have to take this cream, and then you have two ways. You can just beat the cream and the soft butter that comes, this is like makan, or you can make it into yogurt, this cream. Actually, it will become a sour cream, and then from this cream you can churn butter. This is even better because it's much easier to digest it.
This is like every Indian homes, pretty much they
Yes.
create the same way. But the milk has to be special, cow.
Good
Yeah.
milk. Yes. Some scriptures, they say that Indra is the supreme, or Agni is the supreme. Different demigods are the supreme. But again, if we go into the scriptures, we will see many instances when these personalities, they come and they took shelter in Krishna. Like for example, Indra being the king of heaven, so many times he has problems with the demons, and he needs help. And to who he is going for help? Always Krishna. Yes, always Krishna. And Krishna is always helping, like in the case when Bali Maharaj took over the universe and took over the paradise, the heavenly planets, and Indra was in a big problem, and then his mother started praying, and then Krishna appeared and said, "Don't worry, very soon I will appear, and I will, everything will fall into place." And then, just one second. And then, just one second. And then he appeared as Vamanadev, which was this small drove boy who went to Bali Maharaj and asked him for charity. And Bali Maharaj said, "Yes, you are a Brahmana, whatever you want I will give it to you." And the boy said, "Yes, I want just three steps of land." And then Bali said, "Of course, you can ask much more, but if you want 3 steps, I'll give you 3 steps." And then when the time came, this small boy started growing, became so big. With 2 steps, he crossed the whole universe. And then he said to Bali, "So, you promised me 3 steps, but I already have the whole universe. So it looks like you cannot fulfill your promise to a Brahmana, That means you have to go to hell. What we are going to do now? And then Bali Maharaj, he was very intelligent, and he said, still I have one thing in my possession. It's my head. Please put your third step on my hand. So that means I am surrendering also myself totally. Another time Indra, he was thinking Krishna is an ordinary boy, and he became angry to the cowherd boys and girls from Vrindavan and sent this big storm to demolish the whole Vrindavan and to kill the residents of Vrindavan. And then what did Krishna do? Yes, just he went with the small finger of his left hand, even not using his right hand, his strong hand. He was using his weak hand, and only the smallest finger, he lifted the whole Govardhan hill. And he kept it like that for 1 week, 7 days, and gave shelter to all the cows, to all the residents of Vrindavan. And when Indra saw this, he understood, oh, I did a big mistake. And he immediately took 1 cow to make Krishna more relaxed. And then he went in front of Krishna, and he was pushing the cow all the time in front of him, and he was just looking behind a little bit, just so that Krishna sees the cow first and becomes relaxed, not angry at him. And then he started offering prayers, and he excused himself. Krishna told him, don't do this anymore. It's not right, it's not correct. So we see Krishna is the Supreme. All the great personalities in the universe, they accept that Krishna is the Supreme Lord.
So I'm wondering, does Krishna have any relation to the Western gods like Jesus and the like? So does Krishna have any interaction with them? Do they have any relationship? Have they met before?
I'm not expert on these topics. I'm more I know more the Vedic tradition and the Vedic philosophy. That's why I prefer to speak on the basis of these books. But I can say something, but I'm not saying that it's 100% truth. Like if you go and ask some priest or something, he may say something different. But from what I know, from what I heard, Krishna is the Supreme God. So he is the Supreme God glorified in all religion. You can name him with a different name. You can call him Allah, or you can call him Yehovah, or you can call him our Father. But he's the Supreme Person, same person. Just in the Vedas, he is named with this specific name, Krishna, because Krishna means the all attractive. In the Vedas it is explained that from all qualities God have, the highest, the supreme quality is his beauty. That's why he is generally approached with this name. But he has many other names. Actually it is said that God has unlimited names, because he has unlimited qualities, and each one of his names describes a certain quality that he has. For example, he is known as Rama, means the source of all happiness and pleasure. He is known as Mukunda. He is the person who is giving liberation from all material problems and suffering. He is known as Hari. He is stealing all the troubles, all the problems from the life of his devotees, those people who are devoted to him. He is known as Govinda. He gives pleasure to our senses. When our senses get in contact with God, we become happy. And in this way, if we go even in the other traditions, we will see the names that people use for approaching God, they have a specific meaning. Like, for example, Allah means, what is the meaning? He's the Almighty, all-powerful. God is all-powerful. That's why it's not wrong to call him Allah. And in regards to, let's say, Jesus specifically, from my understanding, Jesus is a son of God. He is coming from the name of God to rescue fallen souls like us, to change our wrong mentality and to help us to go back to the kingdom of God, to to the spiritual world. This is my understanding. From what I learned, from what I heard, and from what I read.
Son of Krishna.
Yes, if we accept that God Father is Krishna, so that means Jesus is his son. And we can see Jesus, he's never saying I'm God. He's always speaking about his Father. Yes. I can say many other things, but I don't want, because someone else who is a serious practitioner of other tradition may not agree with them. That's why I prefer just to keep it for here. Maybe later we can have specific discussion only for this topic. Is that okay? Your idea is similar?
I mean, I've done a lot of research.
Okay.
Topic I can show you later.
Okay, sure. I'll be happy to see. Okay, so we have a very famous verse from Brahma-Samhita. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. So this verse is describing Krishna as the Supreme Lord. It's a verse spoken by Brahmaji. This is the first living entity in the universe. Oh, we guess that the first living entity in the universe, he knows. If he doesn't know, that means definitely we don't know. So he is addressing Krishna as the Supreme Lord, and he is saying, Ishvara, he is the Ishvara. What means Ishvara? Yeah, Ishvara means controller. He is controller. Ishvara Parama. Who is the Parama? Who is the supreme controller? There are many controllers. Like I am controller. Chris is controller. Every one of us is controller in some area. But who can say that he is the supreme controller? Nobody can say he is the supreme controller. Everybody wants to be. That's why we have wars. That's why we have so many things going on. Because everybody wants to show off. I'm the supreme controller. But actually there is only one supreme controller, and it is the Supreme Lord, Krishna. So that's why in this verse it is said, Ishvara Parama Krishna. Krishna is the Param Ishvara, the Supreme Ishvara, the Supreme Controller. Nobody is above him. There is another name of Krishna which is Asama Urdhva. Sama means equal. Asama means not equal. And Urdhva means higher. So Asama Urdhva means nobody is equal to him and nobody is higher than him. So everybody is under him. That's why he is known as Param Ishvara, the Supreme Ishvara, the Supreme Controller, the highest living entity. And he has a form, and his form is Satchit Ananda Vigraha. His form is full of bliss, full of eternity, and full of knowledge. This is Krishna. His form is not like our forms. It's not material form.
Swamiji, I have an appointment.
Sure.
I will come again. I live close by.
Please. Every Tuesday, every Friday, every Sunday.
You have this discourse.
We have different things going on in the afternoons, in the evenings.
Okay.
You can ask the lady on the reception for more information. Thank you very much. Anadir Adir Govinda. Anadir Adir. Adi means beginning. Yes. Come. Haribo. Adi means beginning. Anadir Adir means he doesn't have. I'm joking. He doesn't have a beginning. But he is the beginning of everything. So he is the beginning of everything. In other words, he is the reason for everything, for every one of us. But he himself, he doesn't have beginning. Sometimes people are asking these questions. Okay, God is the supreme. But who created God? Well, that's why he is God, because nobody created him. Everybody else is created. He is not created.
What you just said, is that like when they say the Alpha and Omega?
Yes, correct. He is the Alpha and the Omega. He is the beginning and the end. And He is the middle as well. And He is between the beginning, the middle and the end. He is everything. So, Anadir Adir. He is the beginning of everything. And He is known as Govinda. He is giving pleasure to our senses. And also other meaning of this name is Go, means cow. So He is giving special pleasure for the cows. Krishna like cows. If we don't like cows, I don't know what we are going to do in the spiritual world, because in the spiritual world there are many, many cows. We have a problem. Get used to cows if you want to go to the highest planet in the spiritual world. And He is also known as Sarva Karana Karanam. Karana means reason. Sarva Karana means all the reasons. And He is Karanam. He is the reason behind all other reasons. So He is the reason behind everything. He is the initial beginning of everything. So this is a verse which is describing Krishna. So Krishna, He is the supreme controller. He is known as Krishna. It is said in this verse. His body is not material, it's spiritual, Satchitananda. And it's Vigraha, it's a form. It's not impersonal substance. It's not just energy or love or power. He is Vigraha. He has all these things within Himself, but actually He is a specific form. He is personality. He is something individual. And He is the beginning of everything, and He is the pleasure for all the senses, and He is the reason behind everything. This is a description of the Supreme Lord, according to the Vedas. Sometimes people are saying, well, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in the Supreme, or something like that. Well, we can ask them, tell me what's your concept about God? Because when you tell me what's your concept about God, maybe I also don't believe in your God. So if you allow us to describe our concept about God, well, there is a big chance that you agree that if such a personality exists, well, I don't have problem with Him being a God. He's not bad, He's not angry at people, He's not jealous, He's not always trying to find someone to put Him in hell or something like that. Maybe if someone understands the Vedic idea about God, there is a big chance that he accepts this Supreme Lord. So, Krishna is the original source of everything in the existence. All energies, all Vishnu Tattva expansions, all living beings, everything, everywhere that expands from Him is a part of Him. He is the supreme object of worship, the supreme master, the supreme friend, and the supreme lover. So Krishna is everything. Krishna is known as the son of Nanda and Yashoda. He is renowned for playing his flute and wearing a peacock feather on his hair. He always appears as a fresh youth, and he is called Shyama because his bodily hue is like the blackish blue monsoon cloud. So some spiritual traditions, they describe God as old. We don't accept this. We accept that Supreme Lord is the oldest personality in the creation because He is the beginning of everything, but He is not old. These are two different things. Like sometimes you can see in some spiritual places, temple, churches, God, He is described as a very old person with white hair and big beard. No. In our scriptures, in the Vedas, it is said that God is Nava Yauvana. Nava Yauvana means eternally young. He is always young. He is always looking as 16 years old youth. That's one of His specific qualities. So God, He is always young. One other interesting thing that I don't know if you know about Krishna, this is something from the kitchen, very secret information. You like secrets? You want to know? Are you hearing carefully?
We're all ears.
Thank you in advance.
So Krishna, his age, the Acharya spiritual masters are explaining, Krishna is developing 1.5 times faster than his age. For example, when he is 5 years old, actually his body doesn't look like 5 years old. His body looks like 7.5. When he is 10, he looks like 15. And they are saying that this is not only for God, but also for the very great personalities. They also grow faster because they are special personalities. They are very intelligent, and their body is developing faster. But specifically for Krishna, it is known, it's described in the books, that his age is always 1.5 times his actual years. So that means when Krishna was, for example, when he went to fight on this wrestling arena, when Kamsa called him in Mathura, it is said at that time that Krishna was like 10.5 years old, 11. But actually, that means he was 15, 16. So 15, 16 means we can see sometimes on the street boys on 15, 16s, well, they look pretty strong. They are ready to fight, no problem. So Krishna fought. And although these were very professional wrestlers, and it is said they had huge bodies, like a steel, still Krishna beat them. But he was looking at that time like 15, 16. Although actually he was 10 years old. It's interesting detail about Krishna.
I have a little question. As he's getting older, of course, we're looking at him getting older, but what's going on around him in terms of relationships, like with his mother, parent, and they experience him getting older, or after a year, what happens? Or it's different?
Do you have children?
Yes.
How old are they?
They're grown.
How?
Oh, maybe like one is in their 30s. Yeah, I kind of lost track of their ages a little bit. But anyway,
How-
one is like 42.
How do you perceive them?
I keep acknowledging that they are grown young men.
But how do you treat them when they come at home? How do you treat them?
But I still, have two little pictures that remind me of when one was a little baby and the other one was a toddler or whatever.
That's the point. So it's the same with the parents of Krishna.
You still,
Krishna may be 10 or 15 or 20, but they always perceive him as their small kid. And it is described that when Krishna and Balaram, they left Vrindavan and they had to go to Mathura, and then they had to go to Dwarka, and then they became kings. They were kings. They had wives. They had children. At some point they had even grandchildren. When they met, at some point they had to go to this sacred place to make a special ritual there. And all the inhabitants of Vrindavan, they understood, Krishna and Balaram are going to this place. We have to go also. We have to meet them. So the parents of Krishna, they went there, and Krishna met with his parents. And they treated him just like he's their small boy. Like they took him, his mother took him on her lap, and she was, how you say?
his head.
Yes, his father was smelling his head. My small boy. It's parental rasa, so this rasa never changes. It doesn't matter. Like I know about one spiritual master. He's a sannyasi, and his spiritual master, he's most probably in his 70s. When he goes to see his mom, and his mom is asking him, so when you are getting married? It's a relationship, you understand? It will never change. This is how it goes with Krishna also. So they always treat him as their son. They don't perceive that he is old and he is a king, or this is king, now the king is coming. No, for them, this is their kid. It's Krishna. our kid. Krishna, come here. You ate? Oh, maybe I have to cook something for you. He is a king. He has like thousands of servants and cooks, but he is their small boy. The mother is accepting him as her kid. So we spoke about Krishna, and now we will say something shortly about his counterpart, or his feminine part, Radharani. Krishna is never alone. Krishna is always with his energies, with his devotees, with his abode, spiritual abode. Krishna is never alone. So whenever is Krishna, there is also Srimati Radharani. This is the internal energy of the Supreme Lord. Svarup Shakti in Sanskrit. Write all these terms, because next time I'll ask you and you'll be in an awkward situation if you don't remember them. Svarup Shakti. Svarup Shakti means his own energy. His own energy. Radharani is Krishna's supreme and eternal consort. She expands herself into innumerable forms for the Lord's pleasure. All the gopis, the queens of Dwaraka, the Lakshmi's consorts of Vishnu or Narayana are all expansions of Radharani. Do you understand this? Shall I explain, or it's clear?
Can you explain this?
Is like the idea is that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and he has always with him his supreme energy, spiritual energy. So always when Krishna appears in a different place or in a different form, his energy also appears with him, but manifests the form which is suitable for disappearance of Krishna. For example, we have Krishna and Srimati Radharani. When Krishna appears as a king in Dwaraka, Srimati Radharani appears as his queen. How to say? Initially, Radharani has little bit more specific relationship with Krishna, just to be able to extract the highest rasa and happiness from their relationship. So once Krishna is king, well, Radharani becomes queen. In Dwaraka, yes, but she has a different. She has a different form and a different name, because the mood is different. So in the spiritual world, form and atmosphere and everything depends according to the mood, the relationship. Here it's not always like that, but in the spiritual world, everything is around the relationship. Like if Krishna wants to have a certain relationship with some devotee, or the devotee wants to have a certain relationship with Krishna, everything matches. Time will change, the seasons will change, the day or night will change, the body of the devotee can change. Everything is according to the relationship. So the center of everything in the spiritual world is rasa, relationship between Krishna and his devotees, and everything else get, accustomed with this. It's in accordance with this. And in the material world, it's not like that. So when Krishna is there, Srimati Radharani is always with him. When Krishna comes as a king in Dwaraka, then Srimati Radharani comes as a queen. It's called Satyabhama. Then when Krishna comes as Lord Narayana or Vishnu on the Vaikuntha planets, same Srimati Radharani comes as Lakshmi. Then when Krishna later comes as Shiva, then Srimati Radharani or Lakshmi Devi, she appears as Parvati, his wife. And in this way, Krishna's energy is always with him. It's never separated from him. So this is very important thing to understand. Let me see. Little bit later, we are going to discuss separately the three different energies of the Lord. All the energies of the Lord, they are categorized in three main categories. So then we will speak a little bit more about the internal energy of the Lord, which is Srimati Radharani. But maybe one thing that we can remember important for Srimati Radharani here is that when we speak about bhakti, when we speak about devotion, and when we speak about the devotee who is rendering service to Krishna, there is no higher devotee than Srimati Radharani. She is the person that knows the best how to satisfy the Supreme Lord Krishna. That's why all the other devotees, they are following in the footsteps of Srimati Radharani. They are trying just to help her in her service to Krishna. She is the devotee, and we are the helpers of the devotee. She is the person who knows the mind of Krishna, and she knows how to give complete happiness and pleasure to Krishna, Srimati Radharani. So we are completely dependent on her mercy. Srimati Radharani is very special personality. Although she is the greatest devotee, she is always thinking that I am actually not at all devotee, and all the other devotees of Krishna, they are more advanced than me. That's why she is always trying to push them ahead in front of Krishna to give them opportunities to serve Krishna. But this makes her the greatest devotee, because she sees everybody else as a great devotee. This is one qualification of the great devotee. Great devotee is never saying that he is a great devotee, rather the great devotee is always pushing others ahead. And because Srimati Radharani is the greatest devotee of all, she is always seeing everybody else as a very great servant of Krishna, and she is trying to give them opportunity to serve Krishna. Also, maybe other interesting detail we can mention about Srimati Radharani is that when it comes to cooking for Krishna, Srimati Radharani is the person who cooks for Krishna. And it is mentioned that from time immemorial, Srimati Radharani is cooking for Krishna, but she never cooked the same dish again. Every time, everything is totally special and different. So she is really trying her best to give satisfaction and pleasure to Krishna. When we cook for Krishna, we generally learn 5 or 10 recipes, and then, well, this is what I can do, so I guess Krishna will have to bear with me.
You make it easy, but when you know, right?
Correct? When you
What's
know.
on the menu?
So these are some of the great qualities of Srimati Radharani, or the spiritual energy of God. So we spoke about the three aspects of the absolute truth, and we spoke that when we speak about Bhagavan, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Swayam Bhagavan.
I'm sorry, I just want to get back to previous. For example, she cooked to him, and he likes it.
You are on the
He-
topic
he-
of
he
cooking
will
now.
ask- yeah, he will
Okay.
ask him, can you cook that? I like what did you cook like last night or something. But she is already in hot water, right? So she will never cook. I mean, it's just like.
Of course, if Krishna wants something, of course. Because the greatest pleasure of a devotee is to do what Krishna wants. Srimati Radharani has a very interesting statement. Is, I believe, from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Maharaj can confirm. But she is saying, if Krishna wants something, and apparently what Krishna wants is will bring me unhappiness, actually this unhappiness becomes for me the greatest happiness. So if, in other words, to give pleasure to Krishna, if this will create difficulty for me, distress or unhappiness, actually this becomes greatest source of happiness for me. This is the mood of Srimati Radharani. Is it correct, Maharaj? So, again, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and when we speak about Bhakta, or the devotee of Krishna, Srimati Radharani is the devotee. And all of us, we are trying to follow in her footsteps, to learn from her how to serve Krishna, to assist her in her service to Krishna. And now the last topic for today, I think we have a time to cover it. Yes, definitely we have time. The last topic for today is the different abodes in the existence. So in the existence, in the universe, but it's not proper to say in the universe because we are going to speak also for what's going on outside the universe. We have different abodes, or they are known as dhammas, holy abodes. And now we are going to go through most of them, 4 or 5 of them. So let's start first with where we are, the material world. Material world is known as Devidam. Who is Devi?
Devi or Devi?
Devi.
Devi. Radharani.
Not exactly.
The earth?
Devi.
Parvati?
Parvati, correct. Durga.
Durga.
The material energy. Material energy is known as Devi. And material world, because it's where the material energy is in charge, is known as Devidam. She is in control here. All material creation is under the control of Durga Devi, or material energy. So what is Devidam? We can say a few things. This is the place where the living entities go when they give up the desire to serve Krishna and desire to enjoy separately from the Lord. This is the place where we go when we give up the service to Krishna and we want to be selfish, to enjoy ourselves. We could say it's like the prison house where the bad guys are going. So if we are here, that means we are from the good guys or the bad guys?
It depends who will talk about.
We are not from the worst guys because we are trying to
Be good.
Yeah, to be good. Material world is meant for fulfilling the living entity's desire and for his rehabilitation. Material world is temporary and is full of constant sufferings. And there is only illusory enjoyment. These are very heavy statements. Each of these statements should be assimilated for some time with practical discussions, but shortly we can say that temporary place. Why? Because appeared and will disappear at some point. Although universe exists for a very long time, at some point it will stop existing. And then it's full of suffering. Well, later we will discuss that in the material world there are 3 different sufferings. There are sufferings that come to us through the media of other living entities, like for example other humans or animals like mosquitoes or COVID viruses. We have to suffer from other living entities, and if not this, we have sufferings that come from our own body and mind. Our own body and mind, they create us sufferings. And if not this, we get lots of sufferings from the material nature, like a natural disasters like what? Hurricanes and tornadoes and what else? name it.
Cold.
Cold, snowstorms, hot, so many. So constantly we are suffering from something. That's why it is said the material world is a temporary place of illusory enjoyment and constant suffering. Some great philosophers are saying that actually in the material world there is no happiness. In the material world there is only absence of suffering for a very short time, and we perceive this as happiness. So we suffer constantly, but from time to time, just for a very short moment, we don't suffer, and when we don't suffer, we take this as happiness. Wow, now it's so great. It's amazing. I don't suffer. That means I'm happy. But actually, no, we don't know what is happiness. We don't have idea about happiness. So the living entities in the material world are conditioned by birth, old age, disease, and death. If we want or not, we have to go through these changes. We cannot escape this. That's why we are known as conditioned living entities. The knowledge of the living entity is covered by ignorance and illusion. That's why we think we are not Krishna's servant. We think we are God, and we have to enjoy as God, because we are under illusion. We don't have real knowledge. And also material world is place of duality and relativity. So this is closer to us, Devidam. So now if we go little bit above that, we come to a place which is between material world and the spiritual world. It's called with the different names. Sometimes it's called Viraja. It's compared with a river, the Viraja river. It is known that this is the place where Mahadev is residing, or Shiva. That's why sometimes it is known as Mahesh Dam. Lord Shiva's abode in the Viraja river, the causal ocean between the material and the spiritual world. So it is said that this is like a river. Sometimes it's described like a river, sometimes it's described like a light. On one bank of the river is the material world, on the other one is the spiritual world. So what is Mahesh Dam? This is a marginal place between Devidam, or material world, and Haridam, spiritual world. It is not part of the spiritual world, but it is not part also from the material world. So it's in the middle. There is no opportunity there for service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Impersonalists who want to merge into the transcendence go there. The Buddhists who are following their philosophy seriously and achieve nirvana, this is the place where they go. Or the people who are following very strictly the system of Jnana Yoga, they enter this place. So in other words, when we are speaking about merging into the Supreme, actually this is where all these yogis or spiritualists are going, and there they merge with the effulgence of Krishna, Brahma-Jyoti. It's very interesting. There is very interesting description in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. It is described that when a Gop Kumar is traveling through different places in the universe, when he comes to this place, Mahesh Dam, and he is seeing something very interesting. He is seeing many yogis who are just existing in the effulgence of this spiritual effulgence, Brahma Jyoti. So basically they are sitting there in the air, you could say. But they are with closed eyes, and they perceive themselves as if they don't exist, as if they don't have a personal existence. But actually he is perceiving them as personalities. So that's a very interesting moment, because it shows that we cannot stop being persons. We are always persons. We are always personal. But if we have a very big desire to stop existing as personalities, Krishna makes such an illusion that we think that we are not persons. Like all these personalities, they think they are merged with the effulgence of God, and they don't exist as the personalities. But actually they continue to exist as personalities. I hope.
They just skip this state, skip this from the list, right? But they still.
They perceive them as themselves as they don't exist anymore as individuals. But actually Gopkumar was perceiving them as they were existing as the individuals. Very interesting moment.
What was the word? Yum? What was the word you said?
Brahma Jyoti?
No, yum something. Yum yoga?
Jnana Yoga.
Gyan yoga.
Jnana
Oh,
Yoga.
sorry.
Mhm. System.
Knowledge.
Gnan
Yeah.
yoga, yes.
You just want to know everything.
Right. No, I heard it wrong.
These are personalities. They, for a very long time, they meditate on the scriptures, and they are trying to understand how they are not matter, but rather they are spirit, and their goal actually is to achieve Brahma Jyoti, this aspect of the Supreme, to merge with the Supreme. So they are merging with the effulgence of the Supreme. And they think they stop existing, they become God, but actually they don't. They may perceive themselves in this way, but actually they still are persons, personalities.
In that state, there's a point. It's only temporary. It's just temporary.
Mm.
It's not eternal. In that state of existing and thinking that one doesn't exist. They think of themselves as not existing. But how long does that keeps going on, and maybe something?
From their perspective, it may go on for eternity, but from the perspective of God, no. Because at some point, because the nature of the living entity is active, so for a certain amount of time they were trying to show that they don't have material desires, and that's why I want to stop to exist. And then Krishna is saying, okay, if you want this desire, I will do it for you, no problem. But then because their eternal nature is to desire, so at some point they have to start desiring. And then they will have to change their position. Now what they are desiring, this kind of existence they will achieve. If they again start getting into the illusion that I want to control, I want to enjoy, then they come back to the material existence. That's why Srila Prabhupada is giving many times the example that you have a great sannyasis, great spiritual leaders, and for a long time they are totally free from material influence. They don't want to enjoy material world. And then after some years, 20, 30, 40 years, suddenly they become politicians, or they just want to do philanthropic work, which is actually material sphere of action. So because their nature is to be active, and they don't want to start acting in the spiritual sphere, they have to start acting in the material sphere. You cannot be inactive. The soul is always active. That's why our Vaishnava idea about mukti or liberation is in Srimad Bhagavatam. It is said, Muktir hitvanyata rupam svarupena vyavastiti. Muktir means hitvanyata rupam. One should give up all his designations, like I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm a human, I'm whatever. All these wrong identifications, they should go away. And then svarupena vyavastiti, the living entity should be established in his original svarup, or spiritual form. Or in other words, we should start performing spiritual activities. We should start acting for Krishna. If we don't do that, we are not actually liberated. So all these jnanis, buddhists, yogis, they, for some time, they think that they achieve liberated existence, but it's a question of time, desires to appear in their mind. Now, if they don't hear spiritual association, these desires, they will be material. And again, they will become active in the material realm. But if they have association with the devotees, then they can desire spiritual things. And once they have spiritual desires, then they can advance. They can go to the spiritual world. But they need an association with devotees. Without association of devotees, you cannot develop spiritual desires. You can become to some extent free from material desires for a certain amount of time, but then again you will have to start to desire spiritual things. Maharaj, you want to add something?
No.
On this topic?
They think they just go into unconscious state when you think, so they don't know. Just like if you're in deep sleep, you're not dreaming or anything. So you forget you exist. You'll wake up and say, "Oh, I had a great night," because you can't remember anything. But you always come out of it.
Correct. It's exactly like a dream.
It's like a hibernation, maybe.
Something like that. But it can last for a long time.
And weather doesn't affect that of their body. They can
Well, they
overcome.
left the body.
It's a different body that they have.
They're not in a gross body. Just in the mental body.
This is what I heard, that the problem with these persons is that they advance so much spiritually that they dissolve their gross material body, even their subtle body, like the mind, all the impressions in the mind. But there is one body they couldn't go over. This is it's called Karana Deha. The body for which they are still in the material world. What is that? The mentality that they want to control and they want to enjoy separately from Krishna. This taste, and because this taste, they have to come again and try to fulfill their material desires. Whereas this is the greatness of a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava, when he comes in Krishna consciousness, he can be the most neophyte devotee, like he joined 5 weeks ago or something like that. And he may be full with still anarthas, even gross anarthas, like he wants gross material sense gratification, even sometimes sinful things. But from day one in Krishna consciousness, he accepts, yes, I am a Krishna servant, I am not here to enjoy, and I am not the supreme controller. Krishna is the supreme controller. Theoretically, they accept this from day one. So then it's just a question of little time to work out so that they can come really to this platform. Whereas all these great Buddhists and Jnanis and Yogis, they look super advanced spiritually, but actually the greatest problem is still in their mind, and they don't want to let it go. They don't want to let go the idea that Krishna is the supreme, he is the enjoyer, he is the controller, I am simply a servant. They don't want to accept this. And that's why Parantyada. Again and again they have to come to the material world. Again and again they have to come back. That's the problem. So anyway, now you know where these kind of persons go. They go to Brahma-Jyoti or Mahesh Dam, place where Shiva is residing, the place between material and spiritual world. So they can go outside of material world, but they cannot enter spiritual world. In order to enter the spiritual world, you need a special qualification. Now we are going to read what is your qualification to enter the spiritual world. So then, if we continue upwards, we will go to the spiritual sky. Spiritual sky is actually the light of Krishna, Brahma-Jyoti, but already in this spiritual sky there are unlimited spiritual planets, which are known as Vaikunthas. Thank you very much. Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha means, who knows what is the meaning of Vaikuntha?
Where Krishna lives.
Huh?
Where Krishna lives.
Yes, but what is the meaning of the word?
Place without suffering.
Place without suffering. So,
Without anxiety.
without anxiety. So, Kunta means
Anxiety.
Anxiety. So the aunt of Krishna was known as Kunti Devi. So what means Kunti? Someone who had lots of anxieties in her life. Kunti. So Vaikuntha means, yes, without anxiety. Unlimited planets, each of them being unlimited. So they are like planets, but actually each of those planets is on her own unlimited. These are the Vaikuntha planets. Once having gone there, we never return to the material world. Haribo! So this is, when you go there, you don't come back. That's it. Job is done. Ever increasing pleasure and love. We'll be always feeling completely happy, blissful. There is no artificial lighting there. Everything is self-illuminating. Natad basayate suryo na shashanko na pavaka yad gyatvana nivartante tad dhamma paramamama. Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, there is no moon, there is no sun there. This place is self-illuminated. There is no electricity. If someone goes there, he never returns back. This is my supreme abode, is saying Krishna. Ever fresh, youthful, eternal, immortal. These are the qualities of this world, Vaikuntha planets. Each planet is predominated by a particular expansion of Narayana. So Krishna is residing on each one of those planets, and he is residing in a specific form. All these forms of Krishna are Narayana forms, but according to what they hold in their hands, they are known with different names, and the different worshippers of these different forms, they go to respective planets. So according to the deity or form of Krishna you want to worship, form of Narayana you want to worship, you go to this particular Vaikuntha planet. Everyone and everything there is perfect. Everything is made of pure consciousness. So everything there is conscious. What that means?
The walls are...
You are walking and then there is a grass under your leg and suddenly the grass starts talking. Hey! Be careful, man! You're too heavy for me. Is it like that?
Or taking a glove jimmy, sweet ball. Sweet ball's conscious. And it's like, hey, be careful.
Yes. Is it like that? Everything is made of full consciousness.
Is this a place where there are these desire trees?
Yes.
So whenever you want,
Correct. There are trees, you just go to the tree and you just name it. And you have it. But of course the devotees there, because they are totally Krishna conscious, they don't want anything for themselves. They want only the things that they need to do proper service for Krishna. Whatever they need for Krishna, this is what they will ask for. And there are unlimited Surabhi cows. Again, Surabhi means the cows that fulfill desires. And they can give unlimited amounts of milk, as much as you like. So what about the consciousness? What does that mean? That everything is made of pure consciousness.
Everything is a devotee.
Everything.
Everything is a devotee.
In a different form.
No ignorance.
There is no ignorance.
No ignorance?
Yes, like here, everything is no matter. At the end of the day, everything is ignorance. But there, everything is made from pure consciousness. Everything is the internal energy of the Lord. There is no eternal death, though matter. Everything is just a pure spiritual energy. And because this is one of the qualities of the Spiritual energy is conscious, that's why everything is pure consciousness.
So here we are a soul in the body. Consciousness is separate from the body. Although the scientist, I just saw the Scientific American saying how consciousness is produced by interactions of the brain. But they never be able to reproduce that. The real thing is the brain is activated by the consciousness, which is the soul. And in the spiritual body, the whole body is, there's no inside and outside. It's all spiritual.
There will be no difference between us and the body.
Yeah.
Everything is same energy, same.
It's one conscious.
Excuse me. This consciousness, does it have a form?
Yeah,
It has a
spiritual body. So you look at the pictures of Krishna, it's beautiful form. Everything is nice.
I see. So as
Someone-
individuals, we will have our individual spiritual.
Everybody's eternally individual, yeah. You
Yeah.
have your different way you want to serve Krishna. So there's trees, there's animals, but they're all pure conscious. They're all fully conscious.
Mhm.
They just want to serve Krishna in their different ways.
So
When
we'll
I ask if there's mosquitoes there, probably said yes, but they don't bite.
great. So that means we will be individuals and we will have personal attributes, we will have a form, we will have qualities, we will have desires, but everything is connected with Krishna. And everything is not temporary, it's not full of ignorance, and it's not full of misery and unhappiness, but rather opposite.
And once ultimately reaching that state, it's eternal,
Yes.
eternity.
Yes.
It's eternal.
One will never come back again here.
So whatever we don't quite know just yet what our relationship will be, but whatever that relationship becomes, that's what will be, that's the relationship, eternal relationship with Krishna?
Well,
Relationship.
our eternal relationship of Krishna is Krishna Nitya Das. We are eternal servants of Krishna. But in what specific capacity we will serve Krishna, it's according to the desire of a devotee. We may serve in one way, in the other way. Don't worry about that. You just go there and you will find out.
There's description in Vaikunthas, which is not quite Goloka, but Krishna's there in this Vishnu form. But there's all kinds, they're all by nature have the same form. But there's animals, birds, everything. Because they want to give pleasure, so they take different forms. Just for the pleasure of the Lord.
Next time we are going to speak exactly about these things, the different relationships with Krishna and their qualities and how they are actually building on each other. Like each relationship with Krishna includes the previous ones and their qualities and qualifications. It's very interesting. We will have interesting discussion.
Yeah.
So, and just to finish, after Vaikunta, there is the supreme abode of Krishna, which is known as Krishna Loka or Goloka Vrindavana. So, this is the supreme spiritual planet in Vaikunta. It is like the whirl of a lotus flower, and other planets are the petals. So, you can imagine one lotus, and the middle of the lotus, this is Goloka Vrindavana. It's the biggest planet of all, and all other planets they are around. It is said that Goloka Vrindavana is bigger than all other planets taken together. So is that big? And is divided into three parts. So the supreme planet of Krishna is divided into three parts: Vrindavana, Mathura, and Dvaraka. So different pastimes of Krishna are happening in these three places, and different forms of Krishna are in these three places. It emanates the bright rays of effulgence, Brahma-Jyoti, throughout the entire spiritual world. So the effulgence that goes everywhere in the spiritual world and also in the material world all comes from this supreme planet, Goloka Vrindavana. Krishna performs wonderful pastimes there and reveals his sweetness. Every step is a dance and every word is a song. So something very, very specific for this place is the, as we said, the unique pastimes of Krishna. Under Goloka Vrindavana, all the other places, the predominant mood is the mood of awe and reverence. Even in Vaikuntha planets, Krishna, the Supreme Lord, is there as Vishnu, and he has his devotees, and they are serving him, but the main mood is always awe and reverence. We are the servants, and he is the Supreme Master, the Supreme Lord. It's always like that. But Goloka Vrindavana, devotees, they have very close and very intimate relationships with Krishna. This is found only there. There is no other place where one can find this. So it's something very, very specific for Goloka Vrindavana. Next time when we are going through the different rasas, relationships with Krishna, we will see this. So being the abode of the original Supreme Personality, Goloka Dham displays special features not found anywhere else in Vaikunta. Among them are especially sweet relationships, rasas, Krishna has with his devotees there. This is something very specific, very unique. So okay, just to conclude, we started today with the different aspects of the Supreme Personality of Godhead: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Yes, and we said that from Bhagavan aspect of the Absolute Truth, who is the highest manifestation of the Absolute Truth? Krishna. Yes, Krishna, who is known as Parama Ishwara. Ishwara Parama Krishna. He is the supreme controller. He is the origin of everything. He is the beginning of everything. And he is known as Govinda. And we spoke that he is never alone. He is always with his energies, which highest energy of all is Srimati Radharani. She is always with Krishna and she is the greatest devotee. And we spoke about the different dhammas or abodes, starting from the material world, going to Brahma-Jyoti, which is neither material world nor spiritual world, and then perceiving the spiritual world, which is full with unlimited Vaikunta planets, and one of those planets is the greatest, the biggest, and the highest, and this is Goloka Vrindavana, or Krishna Loka. And Krishna is performing there eternally his pastimes with his devotees. What is the very specific feature of these pastimes? They are very, very sweet. Very sweet. This is the specific feature of everything that is happening on this planet. Everything is very sweet. Thank you very much for your attention. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.